Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? It's your boy Collector John again, coming at you today with another GameStop video. We're going to be talking about GameStop today. I have some things about GameStop that I need to get off my chest. Recent experience that I had at my local GameStop that didn't go very well. It wasn't the best GameStop experience that I've had in my life. And I know it's probably not surprising to any of you that I had a bad experience at GameStop. I think most people, in the last few years especially, GameStop has really just been going downhill. And honestly, for me though, like my GameStops are usually fine. Like I usually have an okay experience at my local GameStops. But this last one that I went to just wasn't the best. Like there were a couple things that happened that I wasn't super happy about, and I just want to, vent about it a little bit. Here's the thing about GameStop though. They often do those like 4 for $40 promos or the 4 for $20 promos where you can get 4 $20 games for $40. You can get 4 $10 games for $20. I really like those promos. I try to take advantage of those when I can because I think they're usually a pretty good deal. Even for GameStop, I mean, GameStop usually doesn't price their games that well, but when they're doing those promos, it usually ends up being a pretty good deal and you're getting stuff for below market value most of the time. Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys this recent haul that I picked up at my local GameStop and talk about my experience a little bit, talk about the positives and negatives of that experience. And the 4 games for $40 promo is actually still going on, so we're going to go check out another GameStop just to see what's up, to see if I can find any other solid deals there. I know I'm going to be venting about GameStop a little bit and then head out the door and just go right over to another GameStop, which is maybe a little hypocritical of me, maybe kind of dumb, you know? If you want to call me dumb in the comments for going to GameStop again after complaining about all this stuff, then that's fine. You can call me dumb. I don't care. My feelings aren't going to be that hurt. Also in this video, we're going to hit up a Half Price Books and then also a local independent game store that's just right down the street from me. I think it's kind of fun to compare the pricing and selection of GameStop versus some more independent stores. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing in this video. It should be a pretty good time. Yeah, first we're going to go through this haul and talk about my recent GameStop experience and how things went down. And before I get into this, I just want to say I don't fault any GameStop employee for like the bad things that happen to me at a GameStop. Pretty much every time I go into a GameStop, there's only one employee working there, and that employee is never a manager. And sometimes that employee might do things that aren't the best business practice, but I think most of the time that's just like, that might be the store policy, or the employee might just be new and they haven't been trained yet. So, I don't necessarily blame any single employee for stuff like this, like the stuff that I'm about to talk about that happened to me at this GameStop. And ultimately, none of this stuff is really that big of a deal at all. Like, it's nothing that I think anyone should be fired over. It's just, it's just like stuff that's a little annoying and it's kind of fun to talk about in a video. So that's what we're doing. But anyway, the first thing that happened was, and this is a new one. This has never happened to me at a GameStop before. So I was grabbing these 2 Xbox One games. So the store that I was at, they were doing the 4 games for $40 deal, and then they were also doing a 4 games for $10 deal. So these 2 games that I grabbed here were going to be part of my my 4 for $10 stack, and they were just like very cheap games anyway. But both of these games were in the original cases, and those games were Halo 5 Guardians and Rage 2. So when I grabbed these off the shelf, they were in their original cases, which is one I wanted. If they were in these generic GameStop cases, I probably wouldn't have grabbed them. I have no interest in owning and collecting games that are in the generic GameStop cases. And when I brought them up to the counter, the employee actually took them out of those cases and then put them into these generic ones. So that's why I have these now. And I've never seen that before. And when I was at the checkout, I wasn't really paying attention. Like I was kind of just looking at my phone while he was doing all the stuff. Like it takes him kind of a long time to get all the discs out and ring everything up. So I wasn't super paying attention. I didn't even notice that he had done this until I got home and took the games out of the bag. So yeah, I'm sure there are people out there who have seen GameStop do this before, but it was a new one for me. And again, as a collector, I have no interest in these. I don't know what to do with these now. Like I don't want these generic GameStop cases. I want the original case to put on my shelf. I could buy replacement cases for them on eBay, but that would probably end up being more expensive than just buying the game by itself. So yeah, this was like pretty much a waste of money, and it's only $5. Like it's not a huge deal, but it was just like, it was pretty annoying to me to get home and then realize that I had these 2 generic cases when I thought I was just getting the game with the original case, because that's what I grabbed off the shelf. I don't know what GameStop's policy is around this stuff. Like maybe if they don't have another original case to put on the shelf, they'll just put them into these cases. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but it's just something that's never happened to me before. So yeah, I don't know. Just if you're buying games from GameStop, even if they're cheap games, just keep an eye out because they might swap these cases out and think you won't notice. Because I didn't notice, because I'm dumb, because I'm a big stupid idiot. So that was the first annoying thing that happened. And then the other thing was that So I saw a copy of Hotline Miami and Hotline Miami 2, the combo pack for the PlayStation 4, and I don't know if I have a picture or a video clip, but they had it on the shelf for $18, which is a pretty good price for that game. And again, if you're getting it as part of a 4 for $40 bundle, the game is less than $20, so you can ring it up in the 4 for $40 bundle. It'll be a $10 game, which again would be a very good price for the Hotline Miami 1 and 2 bundle for the PlayStation 4. I think on the website right now it is listed at $25 for that game. So I grabbed that copy of Hotline Miami off the shelf, and I spent a bunch of time, curating my 4 for $40 stack, finding a bunch of games that were at or around $20 to include in that stack to get the best value. Hotline Miami was one of them. And when I brought everything up to the cashier to ring it all up, it was like $75 or something crazy like that. Like, it did not ring up as a $40 stack, even though it was definitely supposed to. And then it kind of took us a little while to realize that the Hotline Miami game was ringing up in the system for $25. So even though the sticker on the game was $18, it was not ringing up as $18. You can only get it to ring up as $25. And there was basically no way for this employee to honor the price of what was on the sticker for this game. Which again, it's not that employee's fault. I don't think there was really anything he could do about it. If there was a manager there, maybe they could have fixed that for me, maybe not. I had to put the game back and find a different one that was less than $20 to put in my 4 for $40 stack, which was a bummer. I was like really excited about that Hotline Miami 1 and 2 pack. That was pretty much, of all the games that I picked out, that was probably the one that I was the most excited about. And yeah, I think maybe the Hotline Miami thing was a little more of a bummer than coming home and finding these generic cases. But both of those things just kind of sucked, and it was like, it's little things like that that add up and kind of make the GameStop shopping experience just not fun at all. Like, it's not really a good time to go to a GameStop a lot of the time when stuff like that happens. For me, like I said, I usually do have a decent experience at my local GameStops, but this one was just really crappy. So I'm starting to see, like, I can kind of understand like why people are just starting to get really annoyed with GameStop and the whole shopping experience around being in a GameStop. You have stuff like this happening, and then you're always getting upsold on things that you don't need, and like protection plans and GameStop Pro and all kinds of stuff that just, again, it just all adds up into being just not the best experience. So yeah, I was pretty bummed about that. I still found some other stuff at that GameStop that I was pretty excited about. So let's go through the rest of that GameStop haul. Let's stop complaining. Let's get to the good stuff. So yeah, like I said, these two games in the generic cases, these were part of the 4 for $10 stack that I picked up. So there were 2 more games in that 4 for $10 stack, and they're not very exciting at all. They're just like pretty generic Xbox One games. So I grabbed Rise, Son of Rome, Xbox One exclusive that I've never played. I have started collecting for the Xbox One, by the way, if you haven't noticed. I'm doing it now. I'm definitely doing the Xbox One thing. I grabbed an Xbox Series X this year. The one with the disc drive, so I actually have a reason to collect Xbox One games now. And yeah, so Rise Son of Rome, again, just an exclusive Xbox One game that I don't have. I never thought it looked that great, but I've heard some people actually really like this game, so I would like to check it out someday. And the other Xbox One game that I grabbed as part of my 4 for $10 stack, it's just The Division 2, so not exciting at all. But I do like The Division 2, I have it on PC. So here's my $10 stack. I think that's a pretty, it's a decent little $10 stack. The generic cases definitely bring it down a notch, but it is what it is, And then here's my 4 for $40 stack. So all of these games were at or around $20, and I got them for $40, so basically half off for these. But let's take a look what we got here. We have some more Xbox One games. I grabbed a copy of Halo Wars 2, which is, I'm not like super duper interested in the Halo Wars games, but I do have Halo Wars, the first one on the Xbox 360, and I would just like to have every Halo game physically, right? Like, that's just, I love the Halo series. Even though I'm not as interested in these Halo Wars games, I would still like to have them in the collection, so that's why I picked this up. And the sticker price on this one was $18. I got it for $10 as part of that 4 for $40 bundle, so not bad. I also grabbed Mafia Definitive Edition. I really liked the Mafia games when I was growing up. I played the first one on PC, and now I have a copy of it on the original Xbox, which is also a really fun way to play this game. But I've been wanting to check out this remake of Mafia for quite a while. I think it came out a few years ago. And yeah, this one was priced at $20, so again, I got it for $10, basically half off, which is great. And this one feels like it has some goodies inside. I think there might be a map in here, so let's take a look. It's either a map or a poster, or maybe both. Okay, it's one-sided, so looks like we have a poster, which is that's pretty cool. This original Xbox version also has a poster. Let's compare posters really quick. I'm so excited to compare the posters. Let's take a look here. So the original Xbox poster does have a map on one side, and then the other side is just the classic Mafia cover art. And then here's the remade the remake cover art. This poster over here, definitely higher quality paper. It is a thicker stock than this one. This one's a little thin and flimsy. Even when I'm just holding them up here, you can kind of see this one's not holding up as well as this one is. And I think the classic Mafia artwork is a little cooler personally. This is fine. I don't know. There's like 0 chance I'm gonna hang this one up. Like I would hang this one up over this one for sure. The original Xbox version of Mafia also comes with a manual, so another point deduction for the remake. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool that they put a poster in there. Like, you know, that's kind of like a throwback to the original, I think. Since the original came with a poster, they wanted to put a poster in the remade version. I think it's cool that they did that. It's a nice touch. Not my favorite poster, but still a cool thing, for sure. I also grabbed a copy of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 for the Xbox One, which is great. I have this on PC. I've played a bunch of this on PC. I wanted to have a physical copy that I could play on my big TV. And this game is still so fun. I know that the 3 and 4 remake is coming out pretty soon. I can't remember the exact release date on that, but I think it is coming out fairly soon, like maybe July. I might be wrong about that, but I'm very excited about that. This game is still great. This is a great Tony Hawk game. They feel very close to the originals. They just look a lot better, and they have some extra content. Just a little more user-friendly to play, I guess. And yeah, frickin' banger. I took the sticker off this one because I was already playing it a bunch, but I think this was around $20. So again, not a bad deal for a copy of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. And then lastly, I grabbed a single PS4 game, and that game is Tales of Symphonia Remastered. I think I've talked about Tales of Symphonia a little bit on this channel before. I actually do have the PS3 version of Tales of Symphonia as well. I don't have the GameCube version. I think you know, if I have these like newer versions, I don't know if I'd really need to pick up the GameCube version at this point. That is the version that I played when I was a kid, so it's a little more nostalgic, but I think these are fine. And honestly, now that I have this PS4 version, I'm not sure if I'm even going to keep this PlayStation 3 one. You can let me know if I should. I think, so this one's called Tales of Symphonia Chronicles, and this one is just Tales of Symphonia Remastered. And this one says that it includes Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World. So I'm not sure if this PS4 version has both of those or not. You can let me know in the comments if you think I should keep both of these, or maybe this PS4 version is just like not the one to have and I should just keep the PS3 version. I don't know, but I thought it'd be good to have the PS4 version either way. I feel like I'm probably leaning towards just selling this PlayStation 3 one and keeping this one, but you guys can let me know what you think. I don't know. Okay, so that's the entire GameStop haul. I spent about $50 plus tax on all these, so not bad. I'll put the price charting info for these up here. I would like to know how much these are worth on the open market. I paid $50, which to me seems pretty solid. So other than these frickin' generic GameStop cases that I don't know what I'm gonna do with, but the rest of the haul was pretty sick. So yeah. Okay, and with that, I think it's time to go to another GameStop, even though I just spent all that time complaining about GameStop. Like I said, I am stupid, so the 4 for $40 promotion is just a little too enticing for me. Let's head on over to another GameStop. All right, folks, we're about to head to our second GameStop of the day. But before we do that, I want to unbox a few brand new games that I bought using today's sponsor, Deku Deals. So yeah, I've been using Deku Deals for a few months now, and it is far and away the best method that I've found to track sales on physical games. You can use it to track sales on games for the Switch 2, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series consoles, and then also PC. So you got Steam in there, you got Fanatical. From there, you can create a wish list of games that you might be interested in picking up, and when one of those games goes on sale, you'll get a notification right to the home screen on your phone that it's gone on sale, which is super, super useful and just like a really convenient and efficient way to track sales on these games. The Deku Deals app also has built-in functionality to track and log your collection, which is pretty sick. So you can use that feature to log all of the physical and digital games that you already own and keep track of what's in your collection, which is, again, that's a super useful feature. It's something that I definitely use. It also links directly to your Steam library and adds all that stuff automatically, which is pretty awesome. They also just recently added a retailer selection feature to the app, which is another super useful feature. So if there are retailers that you just don't want to see any sales or deals from that retailer, like for example, you know, maybe GameStop, like maybe you don't want to see any stuff from GameStop on your Deku Deals app when you're looking around for deals, you can just totally filter them out and not see anything from GameStop at all. So that's pretty cool. It's something that I'm definitely going to be using. So yeah, if you enjoy collecting physical video games like I do, you should be using Deku Deals. Like, it's really changed the way that I collect. It saved me a lot of time. It's gotten me a lot of really good deals on physical games that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise. Head on over to DekuDeals.com and check it out, baby. You can also download the app on the iOS or Android store. It's a really clean, easy to use app. It doesn't have intrusive ads. So please check it out using the link in the description. It would definitely help the channel channel a lot. And yeah, let's unbox these games that I bought using Deku Deals really quick. I did have to rip both of these packages open already before I left, just because I had to make sure I was grabbing the right packages. So it's not going to be super surprising to me to see what's in here, because I just looked at these. But you know, I'll just act surprised anyway. Just, holy Final Fantasy X and X-2, and this was $10 from BestBuy.com, and I found that deal once again using the Deku Deals app. Yeah, $10 is a pretty good price for this, and I do love Final Fantasy X, and you know, X-2, that one's pretty good also. I've never finished it, but it's a pretty good game, I guess. And I don't know if this even has a cartridge in there. This might just be a piece of paper with a download code on it, which would suck. Let's find out really quick. This is a good angle. You guys like this angle? Okay, so it does have a cartridge in there. And then Final Fantasy X-2 is a code. Whatever. Anyway, that was $10, which was crazy. We also got a copy of Persona 5. Persona 5 Royal, which is pretty cool. It's got nothing in there. Nice plasticky smell. And yeah, I kind of feel like the Switch is just a good way to play JRPGs, like the Switch or the Steam Deck. Just playing games like this portably seems to make a lot more sense to me. I do like Persona 5 quite a bit. It's not my favorite Persona. Persona 4 is the best Persona in my opinion. I'll definitely get the remake of that when it comes out. All right, we have one more game to unbox here. This one I did not actually get on sale. So there's no discount on it, but I bought it anyway, which I'll explain why in a second. And that game is Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for the PlayStation 5. Yeah, so I've been wanting to play this since it came out this year, and once I saw the reviews and I saw the buzz and I saw people talking about how good this game is, and I watched some videos and I thought it looked really freaking awesome, at that point I just kind of decided that I wanted to like actually wait to buy a physical copy of it. And you know, not only am I getting the physical copy that way, but I'm also supporting the developer a lot more than if I was playing it through Game Pass or whatever, because this game was available on Game Pass and still is, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I really wanted a physical copy, and the physical copies were freaking sold out, man. Like, they were sold out everywhere for a long time. At some point, I added it to my Deku Deals wish list, you know, just in case it would come in stock somewhere and I could see on the app that it was in stock. And then one day I opened up the app and I saw that Best Buy had it in stock, and I just immediately picked it up. As soon as I get through Death Stranding 2, I'm going to start my playthrough of this, and I'm super excited for that. Anyway, thanks Deku Deals once again for sponsoring the video, and download the freaking app and check it out. Like, Deku Deals is so good. It's also a really small company. Like, I think it's just 3 people like running the whole thing. So yeah, they're great. Check them out. I don't think you'll regret it. Okay, let's go to GameStop. And here we are at GameStop. This is probably my favorite GameStop in the general area of where I live. It's a pretty good location. I have good luck here usually. As we can see, they have a pretty decent selection of Xbox One games as well as some Switch games. I'm not sure if we'll be able to find any Switch games for less than $20 because they do, in fact, they're still running the 4 for $40 promotion. So if we can find 4 games for less than $20, we'll get all 4 of them for $40, which would be pretty sweet if we can pull that off. So we'll start off in this Xbox One section and see if we can find anything interesting over here. I spotted this copy of Life is Strange, which this is a game that I really liked. I played it back when it came out in 2015, and I've always wanted to have a physical copy of this game. I don't know if the Xbox One version is the version that I'd want to have physically, but you know, it is $20, so we could fit it into our 4 for $40 budget if we can't find anything else. There's a My Little Pony game for $20, so you know, theoretically we could fit that into our budget if we wanted to. And then there's also a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game here for the Xbox One, which I've played one of these on the Dreamcast, and I thought it was pretty fun. Just like a pretty cool anime fighting game. I don't really know too much about the anime itself, but I thought that game on the Dreamcast was pretty cool. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting pickup, perhaps. Katamari Damacy Reroll, a classic PlayStation 2 game remastered for modern consoles. Another interesting one for $13 there. And I wanted to look at this prototype bundle, which is $35, so that's way out of budget. That would be kind of cool to have, but definitely not going to pay $35 for it. And there's also this SpongeBob game, Battle for Bikini Bottom, which not super interested in it, but I don't know, it would fit in the budget. But let's check out the PS4 and PS5 section. I feel like we might have some better luck over here. It looks like they have a pretty good selection of stuff in this section in particular. And I was seeing a few things right off the bat.
Devil May Cry HD Collection, $28, so it's out of budget, unfortunately. They also had this copy of Detroit, which is one that I don't have, but that was $30, which is that seems like too much for that game. They had the Dead Cells Castlevania game for $25, which seems kind of cool, but again, it's out of budget. And Dead Rising, this one actually is in budget. I don't know if I'm like super duper interested in this PS4 remaster. I do like Dead Rising. I have all of them on the 360, but I don't know if I really need this remastered version on the PS4. Speaking of zombie stuff, look at all these Resident Evil games. And I could definitely use some of these. I'm trying to get all of the Resident Evil games for the PS4 to have those in my collection. I don't have RE3 Remake, so this could be a good one to grab for sure. I know people weren't crazy about that one, but I actually like RE3 Remake. And then RE5 Remastered for the PlayStation 4, another one that I don't have. I also really like RE5, so that could be a good pickup as well. And Revelations 2, not as jazzed about this one as those other ones, but you know, I don't have this either, so this could potentially be a good pickup as well to fill out that Resident Evil collection for my PlayStation 4. This Like a Dragon game was $20, so that's cool. That could fit in my budget. I'm not like huge into the Yakuza series, but it is something that I would like to dive into a little more. And I think the latest Like a Dragon game, Infinite Wealth, does look really cool, and I would really like to check that out at some point. Mass Effect Legendary Collection for $18, another one that could fit in the budget. There's some pretty good choices here. We're finding a lot of good options for the PlayStation 4. Jedi Knight Collection, I played all these on PC back in the day. Freaking love those games. It would be cool to have a physical copy. Sekiro is $50 for some reason. I would like to have that one physically, but $50 is too much. And then Yakuza Remastered Collection, also out of budget, unfortunately. Ooh, here's a good one. Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I freaking love this game, man. This is a great game. I've been looking to pick up a physical copy of this one for a while. I'd definitely rather have the PS5 version, but the PS4 version does have a free upgrade. It's that pretty easily. And this PS5 section is looking pretty healthy, so we're going to see if we can find any $20 or less bangers over here in the PS5 section. $30 copy of Dead Space, that's kind of a lot for that game. That one usually goes for a lot cheaper. Demon Souls, also out of budget, but another one that I would like to have. Destroy All Humans 2, you know, not super interested, but still kind of cool. Oh, and I was kind of surprised to see this down here. I've been looking for a copy of Indica since it came out last year. This game seems really cool. I would definitely love to have a physical copy of this to play on the PS5. Just like a really interesting looking kind of psychological horror game. Saw a couple things down here that would actually fit in the budget. Jedi Survivor was $20, and then Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin was also $20, and this is one that I've been wanting to check out since it came out. And for $20, it does fit in the budget, so we might actually grab that one. And you know, we got to check out the Switch section. Again, I feel like we're probably not going to find anything interesting for $20 or less on the Switch. But you never know. We'll see what's going on here. Here's a $10 copy of Balan Wonderworld. High demand for this one. People really liked that game a lot. No, I don't think so. I heard pretty much nothing but bad things about that game. The XCOM collection is $20. I don't know if these are that good on the Switch. XCOM 2, I feel like there's no way that runs well on the Switch. But it's $20, so, you know, we could get this one if we wanted to. I probably won't, but we could if we wanted to. And I also saw they had Munch's Odyssey remastered for $25. If this one was $20, I might actually get it. A classic 3D platformer for the Xbox. And yeah, kind of slim pickings here, just like I thought. They did have this Parents versus Kids game that would have fit in the budget, and then also Adventure City Calls. So yeah, some really high quality titles. Oh, Persona 5 Tactica actually is $19, which that seems kind of cheap for this one. It's not in an original case, and I'm pretty sure the artwork was reproduction as well. But even with that, I feel like this could maybe be a cool pickup for less than $20. I don't know. This game looks interesting. It's a tactics game in the Persona 5 universe, and it looks cool. I feel like there's some other stuff here that I would rather have, but this one could be good. I don't know. And then lastly, I saw another copy of SpongeBob for $20. The Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Yeah, I don't know. Not super interested. Again, not in an original case, but you know, not bad for $20. So here's kind of my tentative pile of 9 games that I'm interested in. So we're gonna have to pare this down to 4. I'm not gonna get 8. We're just gonna stick with 4 for this trip. So we're gonna make some hard choices here, and then I'll catch you guys back in the studio.
Alrighty, folks, we're back from GameStop number 2, and I'm feeling a lot better about that GameStop experience than the last one, and I actually found some really good stuff, and I feel like I got really good prices on all these. I did do the 4 for $40 again. So I grabbed 4 games for $40, and then I grabbed 1 additional game, and I just paid for it separately. So yeah, let's go through this haul. I think it's a pretty solid haul. It's mostly PS4 and PS5. You can see we have 1 generic case here. However, the original artwork is included. It's just the artwork was on this generic black case for some reason, which is fine. I'll just swap that out. So yeah, let's start going through these. Yeah, we have 4 PlayStation 4 games here. We have a copy of Resident Evil 5, which is pretty awesome. And this one was priced at $20, so getting it as part of this deal was pretty solid. And I've definitely talked about this before, but I have a goal of getting all of the Resident Evil games on the PlayStation 4 that are available to purchase on the PlayStation 4, because I like the Resident Evil series a lot. There are a lot of Resident Evil games on the PlayStation 4. You got 7 and 8, you have 2, 3, and 4 remake. There's 4, 5, and 6 remastered. There's the Origins collection. There's the Revelations game. So I think at this point, there's only a couple more that I need. Resident Evil 5 was one of them. So I grabbed this one. I do actually like Resident Evil 5 quite a bit. I know it's kind of one of the black sheep Resident Evil games. Like, I think people definitely like it more than 6, but maybe not as much as like 4 or 1, 2, and 3. But I do like Resident Evil 5. I think it's fun. I think it's, it's more of an action game than the other Resident Evil games, but I still think it's a really good time. This copy does have a little bit of damage to the artwork in the case down here, but it's not that terrible. And I think for just having this on a shelf and then playing it occasionally, I don't think that's gonna bother me that much. And speaking of Resident Evil, I also grabbed a copy of Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is, again, this is not anyone's favorite Resident Evil game. It's certainly not my favorite Resident Evil game, but I did actually enjoy Resident Evil 3 Remake. It is not nearly as good as 2 Remake. Like, RE2 Remake is, that's definitely in contention for best survival horror game, just straight up. RE2 Remake is so freaking good. But I think this game is fun. I like playing as Jill. I like exploring Raccoon City. I think overall it's a really good time. It's very short, and it's not as good or as scary as RE2, but it's still a good time, and I wanted to have this in the collection physically. So yeah, grabbed both of these Resident Evil games. I'm pretty excited about both of them. This one doesn't have the sticker on it anymore, but I think this one was $20 as well, so I got both of these for half off, which is pretty sick. And then I grabbed a copy of Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which is, people slept on this game a little bit. I don't really hear people talk about Kenna Bridge of Spirits very often. But I really love this game. I had a ton of fun with it. I played the PC version a few years back, but I wanted to have a physical copy, and the PS4 version of this does have a free PS5 upgrade, so I'm definitely going to do that. And this one is in a generic case, so I will definitely be swapping that out. It has a, what do we got in here? Hey, we got some stickers. Some Kenna Bridge of Spirits stickers. Those are actually really cute. I kind of like that. I don't understand how we end up with the original artwork and these inserts and then a generic case. I don't know how that happens, but I guess it does happen sometimes. But yeah, Kenna's a great action-adventure game. It really feels like a throwback PS2 game, and I just like it a lot. I think it's beautiful also. Like, it's just an amazing game to look at. I love the art direction of this game, and I just had a ton of fun playing it, so I'm really happy to finally own this one physically. And then my last 4 for $40 game, we grabbed a copy of Stranger of Paradise. Final Fantasy Origin. Yeah, this game has always looked really interesting to me. It's more of an action game than a role-playing game, so it's definitely kind of a departure from the series a little bit, but it was developed by Team Ninja, which is really cool. And I really like character action games, and that seems kind of like what this is. I really liked Final Fantasy 16, which that definitely feels like more of a character action game than other like mainline entries to the Final Fantasy series. Yeah, so I've been really interested in checking this one out. It also just looks really over the top and ridiculous, and I'm super into stuff like that. Like, I've seen that clip of the main character like talking about chaos, and then he puts in his earbuds and plays like a nu metal song, which is great. That sounds good to me. Like, I want to play a video game that has stupid like that in it for sure. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one, and yeah, this is just like a really good haul for $40. I'll put the price charting for these up here as well. We'll see how that turns out, but yeah, really happy and stoked about this stack here for sure. And as I said earlier, I did pick up one more game while I was there that just wasn't part of any promotions or anything. I just grabbed it because I wanted it, and that game is Indica, which is I don't really hear people talk about this very much, but it's kind of been on my radar since it came out last year. You play as a nun in 19th century Russia, and she starts having these like kind of strange demonic visions that clash with reality. And it looks really cool. Like, it doesn't seem like it's just a straight up horror game. It seems like maybe it's more of a psychological thriller or psychological adventure game, but I thought it looked really cool. I think the setting and the premise of this game are really interesting. And it's kind of a harder game to find. Like, I was kind of surprised that I saw a used copy of it at Gamestop. Yeah, so I just went ahead and picked it up because it's been on my radar for a while. I'll probably play it this winter sometime when there's snow on the ground, because it seems like more of a more of a snowy game. But yeah, again, this is just a really cool one to have in the collection. So happy about this one too. So there's your full stack from GameStop number 2. It's a pretty solid looking stack, you know what I mean? But I think it's time to head over to Half Price Books and see what's going on over there. Half Price Books doesn't really have the best prices most of the time, but it's still a store that I enjoy going to. It's just kind of fun to hang out in a Half Price Books, and I like the way that it smells in there. I don't know, I just like how it smells. And sometimes you'll come out of there with a fair deal or two, so let's head on over to Half Price Books and see what we can find.
We just pulled up to Half Price Books, and it actually looks like they're having a Memorial Day sale today. And I was in this store on Memorial Day, so it was a couple months ago at this point. But it was 20% off everything in the store, which was pretty sick. And, you know, Half Price Books, it's not the best store for video game stuff. They usually don't have the greatest selection, but hanging out at Half Price Books is just kind of fun. I just like being in there. I like being surrounded by books and movies and media, and just it smells really good. And I just like looking around and seeing what's in here. It's always kind of a fun time, even if I don't find any reasonably priced used games. It's still fun. I don't know. I like it. And maybe with this big sale that they're doing, we can actually find some decent deals on games today. But we'll see what happens. And here's the game section. You know, looking pretty much how it always does. I feel like they don't get a ton of new inventory in here, and I come in here probably once a month-ish. So I'm pretty up to date on what they have, and it doesn't look like they have a ton of new interesting stuff here. In this glass case, there were a few things, you know, nothing that crazy. I think strategy guides are a pretty good thing to buy here. They usually have a decent selection of strategy guides at Half Price Books, but actually today there really wasn't that much in the strategy guide section either. But let's check out this PlayStation 4 section and see if they have anything interesting whatsoever. Kind of doesn't look like it. They did have this Crash Bandicoot game for $25, which seems like a lot for that game. They also have a copy of Dragon Quest XI, which I already have, but I just was interested in checking the price on it, and it was $20, which is fairly average. This game, Biomutant, I always look at this game because it just looks like kind of an interesting B game, you know what I mean? And I think your little animal guy that you play as looks cool. So that could maybe be an interesting pickup for $15. Resident Evil 2, they had it for $20. I already have that game. Greedfall, this is kind of another interesting like B game, like Biomutant, and this one's also $15. So both of those are a little more interesting to me. I don't think I'm going to pick them up today. I don't even know if $15 is even that great of a price for these, but they're just kind of, those are the two that kind of stood out to me on the PlayStation 4 so far. Metal Gear Survive, I just bought a copy of this on the PlayStation 4 for $10, and they had it here for $20. So good thing I got it for $10 and didn't buy it here, I guess. And then they also have the Worms, this Worms game. Resident Evil 6, though, here's another Resident Evil game that I don't have on the PS4, and I think 15 is not terrible, especially with the 20% off, so this could actually be a solid pickup from this location. And then over in the Xbox One section, I'm really seeing absolutely nothing of interest. They do have a copy of DayZ, though, and I think having a physical copy of DayZ would be kind of funny. I definitely don't need a physical copy of DayZ. I love this game. Like, I've played hundreds of hours of this on PC. I think having a physical copy would be cool, but I definitely don't need it. Here's a copy of Halo 5 with the original artwork for $10, which I definitely wouldn't want to pay $10 for that. This Tony Hawk game, I also picked that up at the GameStop, and I showed it to you earlier. Halo Master Chief Collection is $25. This game has like held its value fairly well, I think. I don't think I'd pay more than $20 for this one, but I would like to have a physical copy of this game. And yeah, really just not seeing anything that interesting on the Xbox One here. But, you know, I think maybe the Xbox One just doesn't have that interesting of a library, honestly. It makes it kind of difficult to collect for. These Watch Dogs games, I feel like those could be fun to have on the Xbox One, but they were all a little overpriced here, in my opinion. This game, Forgotten City, is cool. I haven't played this yet. I've heard really good things about it. I definitely would not want to pay $20 for an Xbox One copy of it, but still a cool game. And then Callisto Protocol was $13, which I feel like this game has really gone down in value since it came out. I feel like $13 is honestly still too much for it. The Xbox 360 section was looking super barren. Really nothing interesting at all here, just a bunch of common stuff that I already have. This game, Chaotic Shadow Warriors, kind of stood out to me, and then I looked at the cover and remembered that this is not, I've seen this before and it's not something that I'm interested in. Final Fantasy 13-2 there in just a generic case. A bunch of Gears of War, bunch of Halo. You know, pretty normal Xbox 360 stuff. Just really nothing that's catching my eye at all. This Halo 4 Steelbook was kind of interesting. It was definitely I don't know if this is overpriced at $40, but I'm not going to pay $40 for a Halo 4 Steelbook. And I feel like this is probably supposed to have a slipcover that's not on here. So, yeah, really not interested in that for $40. Definitely not. Even in the glass case, there really wasn't anything that interesting. There was a pricier GameCube game here, and some PlayStation 1 stuff, some PlayStation 2 stuff, a bunch of PS1 games that don't have the manuals, like this copy of Suikoden didn't have the manual. Yeah, just really not a crazy, interesting selection here at this half-price books. The Game Boy Advance section, again, nothing that really caught my eye at all. So this stop wasn't the best, but maybe we'll pick up that Resident Evil. I don't know. But they do have a copy of Heavy Metal on UMD. This is probably the most interesting thing I've seen at this location. I didn't pick this up. I'm trying to not buy more UMD videos. It's just not something that I'm, I think they're kind of fun, but I'm not actually going to use them. So, yeah, I don't know. Saddest Wii section I've ever seen in my life. Just nothing good. A few pricier strategy guides up here. This Metroid Zero Mission guide is kind of cool. It was a lot of money, which doesn't surprise me, but yeah, kind of interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this half-price books. If you're looking for like music or movies or books, I think this is a better place to shop. But the video games, at least for me at this location, really not hitting today. But I did end up grabbing one thing from here, so let's take it back to the studio, and I'll show you guys what I picked up.
Okay, folks, so from Half Price Books, I ended up just grabbing this copy of Resident Evil 6 for the PlayStation 4. It was $15. That was the listed price. With the sale, I got it for $12.70, I think. So, not bad. I feel like that's a pretty standard price for a copy of this game. So I now have all of the numbered Resident Evil games on PlayStation 4, which is pretty cool. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, is to just get all of these on the PlayStation 4. I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles, those are the only systems where you can actually get versions of all of these games on a single console. So I think that's really cool. And I really like most of these. The only one of these I haven't played is actually 6. I'll probably check it out someday, but I've heard so many bad things about 6. I don't think it's the best Resident Evil game. So yeah, I might also get Revelations and Revelations 2. Those are the only other two Resident Evil games available on the PlayStation 4. I think there's also that like Umbrella Corps game, but it's really expensive and I don't really care about it that much. I also don't think there's a US version of that game. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to finally have all of these, and yeah, that's what I got from Half Price Books. And I think in terms of comparing Half Price Books to GameStop, I'd probably take GameStop, like at least for video game stuff. Half Price Books as a company is probably better. I don't think they like really pay particularly well when you're trading stuff in. I think even for trade-ins, I'd probably pick GameStop over Half Price Books. But just in terms of like the overall company, I think Half Price Books is probably a better company overall. But for video games, I'm going to go with GameStop on that one. And we have one more store that we're going to check out today. We're going to head over to Say Word, which is on the east side of Milwaukee, near where I live. And it's a pretty cool store. I've been there a few times. They usually have some good stuff. So yeah, let's head on over there and check it out.
We just pulled up to Say Word, and I have a pretty good feeling about this spot. I haven't been here in a while, and I just have a feeling that we're going to find some good video games here today. And the inside of this place is cool. Like, they just have a ton of cool stuff, like comics and action figures and stuff that I'm not necessarily interested in, but I still think it's pretty sick. But as for video games, it does look like they actually have some pretty cool stuff in stock. So let's take a look and see what we can find, starting here in the Xbox 360 section. I immediately spotted this copy of Blitz the League. I don't have any of these later Blitz games. I think they'd be really cool to check out. This one doesn't have the manual, and I think it was also a little pricey, so I'm not going to grab this today, but I would definitely like to have a copy of that at some point. Along with this Dreamcast collection for the Xbox 360, I think this is pretty sick. I really like the Dreamcast. I like the synergy of Sega and Xbox, and I like the idea of Sega putting out Dreamcast games on the Xbox 360. I think that's pretty sick, and I would really like to have a physical copy of this, so this is going to go in the maybe pile. I think this would be a cool one to have. Quake 4 is another 360 game that I still don't have a copy of for some reason. Someone told me that these come with a demo disc of Quake 2, and I don't know if that's on a separate disc or if it's on the same disc, but I would love to play frickin' Quake 2 on the Xbox 360. I think that sounds sick. Here's Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. I didn't end up grabbing that one today, but still kind of cool. On the original Xbox, I was looking at this copy of Whiplash. I always get this confused with Mad Dash for some reason. I feel like I don't know, just like the cover art and the vibe of those two games is incredibly similar. And this is really cool. Aliens vs. Predator Extinction. I've never seen a copy of this in the wild, and this is like an AVP-themed real-time strategy game for the original Xbox, which sounds pretty sick, and it's like kind of a, slightly more rare original Xbox game. So I'm really just evaluating this Dreamcast collection and AVP Extinction games. Like, these are two that I'm pretty interested in that I might end up grabbing, but we'll see what happens. Over in the PS3 section, there was some pretty interesting stuff as well. I saw another Blitz game, Blitz the League 2, for $60. Again, these are just like a little pricier, and I would like to have them, but I'm just not feeling like I need to pay that much for them today. So I think we're going to put this one back too, even though it's pretty sick. And speaking of pricier games, they had a copy of Deadly Premonition Director's Cut here for $42. I've been wanting to grab Deadly Premonition for a very long time. I've never played this. I just know that it's like kind of a B game that's heavily inspired by Twin Peaks, and that sounds kind of awesome. So I don't know, man. I feel like I'm finding a bunch of like slightly pricier games here, and we're going to end up spending way too much at the store, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. I wasn't really seeing a ton in the PS2 section. Here's a copy of Dino Stalker. I talked about that game in a recent video. I think it's pretty sick. They had a copy of Teen Titans for $16. I feel like that's a decent price for Teen Titans. I really have no affinity for this series of cartoons, but I don't know. I think the game is supposed to be pretty cool, and it's kind of a more interesting PS2 title. They had some pretty neat Dreamcast stuff as well, including this game Mars Matrix, which is I think it's a shoot 'em up. And this is definitely like a much pricier Dreamcast game. They had this copy for $150, but a really nice complete copy and kind of a cool looking game. And over on the GameCube, I wasn't seeing anything that terribly interesting, except for Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which I would like to grab that at some point, but I'm not going to pick it up today.
Okay, and we're back from Say Word, and yeah, they had a lot of cool stuff there today. I had some difficult choices to make. I ended up grabbing two things, the first of those being Deadly Premonition Director's Cut for the PlayStation 3. This is a game that I've been wanting to check out for so long, like over 10 years, I think. I've been interested in this game. I've never owned a copy of it. I've never played it. I'm happy to finally have a cool physical copy of it on the PlayStation 3. I'm not exactly sure what the Director's Cut entails. You can let me know in the comments if you're familiar with this game. But it seems like a pretty cool version of Deadly Premonition. And this is a nice complete copy as well. It's in really good condition. I paid $42 for it, which I think is pretty solid for this game. And then we have one more game. I guess I ended up going a little harder than I thought I would in terms of how much I was going to spend at Say Word. But again, they just had a lot of cool stuff there. So I ended up also picking up a copy of Metal Gear Solid: The Legacy Collection for the PlayStation 3. And this is a super nice complete copy of the game, complete with the slipcover and this booklet. I'm actually not sure what this booklet is, so let's check that out really quick. So this seems to be some kind of I don't know, art booklet. Dang, this actually looks really cool. Holy crap. So yeah, this is like kind of seems like maybe a detailed history of the Metal Gear series, which is awesome. I think it's really cool to have something like this, and I'm glad that this copy came with it. I see a lot of these out in the wild with just the case and the game. I don't see as many that have the slipcover and this booklet. So yeah, I was really happy to pick this up for $50. If you've watched my channel before, you've definitely heard me talk about Metal Gear Solid and how it's pretty much my favorite series of all time for video game stuff. I really love Metal Gear Solid a whole lot. So yeah, this is a nice 2-disc collection. Let's see what's on the discs here. So we have 1987 through 2012, which includes Metal Gear, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Looks like a couple bonus mission packs, and then Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm not seeing Metal Gear Solid in here, the first one. I'm not sure if that isn't supposed to come in this collection. Kind of doesn't look like it, which is interesting. I didn't actually, I looked at this before and what it included, but I guess I didn't process that Metal Gear Solid is not included in this collection, which is interesting. I don't know, it's kind of a strange omission, especially because I'm pretty sure every PS3 can just play PS1 games natively, so why not just include like a, PlayStation 1 copy of it? I don't know, it's probably more complicated than I think it is. For both of these, I spent a little over $90 at that store, which, again, that was more than I had planned to spend when I walked in, but both of these were like very interesting to me for my collection. These are two games that I'm like super stoked to have. So yeah, I was happy to spend a little more in that store just to grab these two things that I really wanted. And I would say that Say Word and independent game stores in general, those are always just going to be a better choice than GameStop. Like that's pretty obvious. I'd say like 99% of them probably have better pricing. Will give you a better value on your trade-ins. We'll have more knowledgeable employees working in their stores, and are overall just going to be a better shopping experience than going to a GameStop. But you know, sometimes GameStop still does come through, and they have those interesting promotional deals, and it can still be worth it to go there once in a while. I still like going to GameStop. It's maybe a little nostalgic for me. Like I used to go to GameStops a lot when I was a kid, and they're definitely not as good as they used to be. They've changed a lot over the years. Their just corporate practices are getting worse and worse as time goes on, and it feels like GameStop as a brand might just be kind of a sinking ship. Like if GameStop is still here in 10 years, I'd maybe be a little, whoa, someone just screamed outside. Yeah, I'd be a little surprised if GameStop was still here in 10 years, honestly. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Deku Deals for sponsoring the video. Don't forget to check out Deku Deals, because it's pretty awesome. Again, I'm still using it all the time. It frickin' rips. I love the Deku Deals app. Let me know your thoughts on GameStop in the comments, and also don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It helps the channel a lot. And I'm Collector John. We'll see you guys in the next one.